When your players enter your world, are they simply visitors? Or are they stepping into a living, breathing universe? How do you make sure that they aren't just walking into a world that ceased to exist before their characters were created? Welcome to Dungeon Brew. Stay tuned. We'll answer those questions.
Welcome to Dungeon Brew.
So, I wanted to ensure that my players felt that their characters had always been a part of my world, even before we sat down for our first session. To do that, I use two methods. The first involves presenting them with moral quandaries, decisions that give them quick insights into how their characters handled difficult choices. The second method is personalized quests that tie directly into their backstories, easing them into the campaign world by offering a more nuanced variety of decisions. Okay, so let's start with the first method, presenting players with moral quandaries to help them discover how their characters lean into important matters. These quandaries are meant to simulate the difficult decisions these characters had to make to survive up until the start of a campaign. These moments give players a snapshot of the world, small windows into the larger conflicts, politics, and struggles at play, but they also help players to understand who their characters are, what their values are, and how they would act when the pressure is on. For example, I presented a player with the following moral quandary at the start of the Cast Down from Haven campaign that I ran a few years ago. After defeating a hero of the demon Methagnos outside of Haven's walls, you saw its body sliding off the edge of the floating citadel, clutching a tome of magical secrets used during the battle. At the same time, a child nearby was grasping at tufts of grass, rapidly losing her grip and about to fall. You have time to save only one. The tome, which held powerful magical knowledge that could change the course of future battles, or the child who was moments away from death. I know it's a little stilted, but it forced the player to confront their character's values. Would they choose compassion and save the child, knowing they would lose the knowledge and power of the tome, or would they choose the tome and sacrifice the life of an innocent? I don't make assumptions about their reasoning with these types of scenarios, and that is important to their setup. Perhaps the player reasons that the life of one innocent is well worth the power of the tome, allowing them to save far more in the course of the war. Perhaps they care nothing for the innocent and only want power. Perhaps they want to establish the child as their own or their charge. I give my players the power to build on the scenario in whatever way makes sense to them. It's about the decision. The decision they make here not only impacts their abilities, perhaps gaining a magical item, a follower, or an ally, but also reveals who they are in the world. Will they be a hero driven by compassion, a pragmatist focused on the greater good, an anti-hero driven to survive, or a heartless villain grasping at power? Each decision is made by the player, and the goal of these quandaries are only to help the player establish their character's values. Okay, so we've talked about quandaries. Let's get into the quests. The second method is using players' backstories to create personalized quests. These quests ease them into a campaign world, offering them deeper engagement and a more nuanced set of decisions than a simple black and white moral dilemma. These are usually quests that I tie more deeply into the player's backstory to help them understand their place in the world and last about 10 to 15 minutes of game time. These quests aren't about finding loot or leveling up, but that doesn't mean that loot cannot be found, as we'll get into in a minute. These are designed to reflect the world's lore, conflicts, while also trying to directly get into the character's personal history. So the example I have is one of my players created a Kender in our Dragonlance campaign, joining after we had already been playing for a few months. Being a Kender, he found himself in the city jail. As with most Kender, he was thrown into a holding cell along with a variety of other inhabitants. As the guards lazily patrolled, ignoring the commotion around them, he had the opportunity to engage with the eccentric characters sharing the jail with him. He had the option of interacting with a drunken dwarf singing bawdy songs, an elf caught for public nudity during a purification ritual, and a group of fellow Kender who were causing their usual mischief. This quest was designed to help introduce the player to the world of Kender, and each social interaction with the NPCs led to different outcomes. Joining the dwarf in song could earn him a flask and some useful tales of local adventures. He could steal the nude elf's fake eye, and engaging with the Kender might result in the exchange of borrowed trinkets. Later, he would discover the guard's keys, allowing him to either sneak into the guard's room and explore their stash of contraband, or check out the solo cells where a notorious thief was imprisoned, possibly even freeing them. Each decision opened up new opportunities for him to cause chaos, gather trinkets, and meet colorful characters, perfect for a Kender like him. The quest was designed for a player new to Dragonlance and new to Kender, allowing the player to immediately feel connected to the world and explore it in a way that was fun and engaging for their character. That was the goal. It wasn't a moral dilemma and there were no stakes. That is not to say that there can't be in personal quests, only that it was personalized for the player, the character, and the world, and that's what the design of these is meant to do. By giving each player a personalized quest, I can help my players so they aren't just reacting to a world. They're living it, shaping it, and learning about it through the lens of their own characters' experiences. So, while both methods aim to integrate the players into the world, they serve different purposes. Quandaries are about giving players a moral snapshot, a quick moment of decision that helps them understand who their character is, and maybe a brief glimpse into the history of the world. Personalized quests, on the other hand, are about exploration and immersion. They are more about helping players to see more of the world and get a chance to explore their character in a more drawn-out, meaningful way. Use moral quandaries when you want to give players immediate insight into their characters' values and brief glimpses at their history and the history of the world. Use personalized quests when you want to offer a deeper, more complex exploration of their character's role in the world in the here and now. So the reason that I use these two methods is because I think that they help to create a richer, more immersive experience for my players. I connect their backstories directly to the world through decisions that they can make in the moment, and then they can become more invested in the game. Their characters feel like they've always belonged into the world that I built, and not simply that the world ceased to exist before they came on the stage and ceased to exist after they left it. If you're looking for more ways to create a more engaging and immersive world for your players, start by giving them meaningful decisions, whether through quick, impactful moral quandaries or a little bit lengthier personalized quests that tie them to the deeper history or lore of your world. Thanks for tuning in to Dungeon Brew. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks to enhance your homebrew adventures. Check out our Patreon for free resources. Leave a comment below how you handle your introductions for your players into your world. And until next time, happy gaming.
Dungeon Brew.